making some turkey meatballs. So one of the dishes that we're going to do today, you can freeze the meatballs. Take out 3 or 4 meatballs, put them in their bento box or their lunch box. They'll be thawed by lunchtime, and it's going to help keep the bag cold. But the other thing I want to show you guys, and this is what I had Derek go get me out of the refrigerator. I reuse these bottles all the time. That's why they crush up so good. This one didn't do what I wanted it to do. So okay, let me get the condensation off of here. Oh, exactly, Lord Velos. When you have, I have a teacher, I still remember my kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Croker, and I love that woman. I also remember my 3rd grade teacher who was abusive, Mrs. Mulligan. Anyway, don't focus on her. We're going to focus on Mrs. Croker. I remember Mrs. Brennan, my 4th grade teacher. I remember Sister Agnes, my 6th grade teacher. These were all people who had a huge influence on my life because of how they taught classes. And I thought it was fantastic. I hope so, science. I hope so. All right, so take a water bottle. Don't put the water in like this and then freeze it like this. Okay, because that hard chunk of ice is not going to really thaw, and then they're not going to have their bottle of water. Fill it about 1/3 full and lay it sideways like this and let it freeze. Because then you get much more water content in here. You don't need a whole lot of ice in here to keep this water cold. And then you just fill that up and you put this down inside that insulated bag with their sandwich, their chips and whatever inside there, and this helps keep it cold, and that water thaws so they have a full bottle of water to drink. It'll thaw quicker if it's like this. If it's like this, that may only thaw maybe 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch before lunchtime. 5 days. Now, are you guys going to wait and see if things happen naturally, or will she be induced in 5 days? I cannot believe it's already that close. I cannot believe it's less than a week away. That, mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. Speaking of water, I got to get my water over here. Why does everybody text me when I'm streaming? Okay, hang on. Let me let my mom know. She's answering questions from yesterday. My 6th grade teacher used to walk around slamming his cane on we had and my 7th grade teacher was one of my favorites too. We had a teacher who would be writing on the chalkboard, and this man was deadly accurate. David Bees was always the one who was getting in trouble. David Bees and David Salcido, who sat behind me. And behind me, not directly behind me, but one over, he'd be writing on the chalkboard, and he'd hear one of them, and he'd throw that piece of chalk and hit him in the head every single time. Every single time. She'll need to be induced if past the week of the due date. I was induced a month early. Yeah. My kid's almost 6 feet tall and healthy as a horse. Healthy. Oh, wait. No. Reboot and bells. How dare you? How dare you? Reboot. Thank you, Reboot. I just saw your message pop up. Oh, no problem. Not a problem, Velos. That's fine. That's totally fine. So we want to talk about contents of our lunch boxes, and we're going to get to cooking, and then I'll get to visit more and hang out more. Oh, Kathleen, you guys are supposed to be my friend. You guys are supposed to be in my court. You guys have got to be in my court. I don't think on the points, that when you donate channel points, I don't think it'll let you donate unless I'm streaming. Because I remember going to a streamer's channel to donate because I'm like, oh, I know they're not streaming today because you can only donate once a day. And I'm like, I'm going there while they're offline, and it wouldn't let me donate the points. I was like, boo. 6th grade teacher with deadly accuracy with board duster. There you go. Man, there's some teachers that are just brutal. And yeah, and they do that to encourage, the reason why they do that, Twitch thought this one through, is it encourages people to watch the stream to garner points to put towards the horrible thing that I have to do, wearing the crab onesie, which I really need to get those eyeballs fixed. Okay, so what do we need? Whether we're adults or whether we're kids, what do we need? We need protein, fat, and a complex carb. So, complex carb, whole grains, beans, lentils, starchy vegetables, like butternut squash, carrots, chickpeas. So these are all things that we can contribute to getting the things that we need. So I want you to aim for balance. So these are all my notes. I had to type up all my notes so I wouldn't forget them for you guys, because if I talk off the cuff, sometimes I forget them. So not every single lunchbox has to be perfect, but you need to aim for at least 2 components in that formula. Now, sometimes your kid's lunchbox, if you're doing this for kids, is going to come home and hardly anything is going to be touched. Don't panic, okay? Your kids do not get all their vitamins and minerals and all their nutrition in that one meal. They actually absorb it over the course of several days up to a week. And maybe somebody brought something in, somebody's like, hey, we brought in pizza, and your kid had a slice of pizza and didn't even think to tell you, you know. That's why you always ask open-ended questions, not yes or no questions when your kids come home. How was your day? Fine. What did you do today? What was your favorite subject today? What was something fun you learned? So always ask them questions about that. You'd be surprised what you learn over that. So consider your child and include at least one safe food that you know your child will eat. And because we're going to be introducing some things here that some kids might be like, what are you doing to me here? But we're going to make them kind of fun. We're going to make them kind of entertaining. So, but at least put something in there, like if they like their bread or their veggies, or particularly if, like, Derek likes his sandwich cut into triangles. Or yeah, like just cut in half, but on the angle. I like mine cut on the rectangle. Find out what your kid likes, cut their sandwich that way. Those are the type of preferences we can indulge our kids in. Don't give your kids 100% control. No, I don't like it. I don't want it. I don't like it. It smells funny. It looks funny. It tastes funny. If you give them that much control, you're never going to pack a lunch for them. But get your child involved, but like minimal involvement. So I was going to put on here. Offer just 2 choices of the same food group. For instance, would you like pasta or bread? That's the choices you give them. You don't tell them, what do you want for your starchy thing? We've got this, we've got that. No, I've got pasta and I have bread. Which one would you like? You give them that choice. Now that they can feel that little bit of control. Banana or raspberries, because you know you want them to have a fruit. Give them a choice of 2 fruits. Don't say, go pick a fruit out of the refrigerator. I don't want fruit. That was not the option. You get a choice, this one or this one. So you got it. When I was a kid, I loved liverwurst. So I used to love, I don't have one of those in there. Deviled ham, those little cans of deviled ham. Oh, those are so good. My dad still has a scar on his forehead from 50 years later. That is crazy. Yeah, sorry, Bells. Sorry, Bells. You can't do it. The other thing is, if you're introducing something new, if they're excited to be in the kitchen, have them help you with it and do a taste test. You don't necessarily have to tell them all the ingredients that are going in, but do a taste test. Hello, Damien. How are you doing today? Thrash, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome on in. Where are you watching from, and how did you find the stream? Love to know how people are finding us over here and coming up. This is one of our more of like our informative, like classroom type instruction things. A lot of times we're doing silly stuff. We're doing themes and everything else. It's great. All right. So the other thing to get kids used to, and adults, because this can be a texture thing almost with some people. But I want you to think about your dinner leftovers and start eating them at room temperature. So the next day, I want you to zap them in the microwave just for like 30 seconds, just enough to bring them up to ambient temperature. I want you to taste them. Do you like the pasta when it's cold? Do you like the pasta when it's room temperature? Or it has to be hot? This is how you find out your threshold and your kids' threshold. And also make it colorful. Kids like color, so always make their lunches colorful. Most food will actually taste better. I forgot I got to get the rest of that liquid out of there. Most food will taste better at a room temperature than it will hot right out of the pot. Why is my music so loud? Gadzooks. Is the music too loud for you guys, or is it okay for you guys? Or are you hearing it through my mic as well? Please let me know. Please let me know. So like I said, yeah, don't get upset if they come home and they haven't eaten everything out of their lunch. Just keep offering a variety of good foods. So Laura was never allowed to say, I don't like it. if she hadn't tried it. Philip, thank you so much for the biddies. I appreciate that so much. Hey, E-Rock is here. I was so mad, E-Rock. I was going to get on ARC yesterday, and I just haven't done any of those updates on ARC. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not getting on ARC today. It's like, dang it. I was so excited to get on there, and that didn't work. I don't even remember how to stream that from the Xbox, and it would probably be boring to watch me play ARC. With repeated exposure of having your kids trying leftovers, particularly on the weekends, lunch on Saturday and Sunday should be leftover from Friday, Saturday of dinner. And don't heat it up. Take it out, let it start getting to room temperature, and tell them we're going to go on a picnic. And get them used to eating room temperature food. But I don't want to. I feel that. I feel that. Oh, E-Rock, thank you. I'm trying to include my 4-year-old in grocery choices. Yeah, when I was in the grocery store and that little girl wanted blue raspberries. And she said her favorite food was blue raspberry. I'm thinking, okay, that's candy. Candy's blue. I don't know why they make raspberry blue on candy, or slushies and all that kind of stuff. That was not a good thing to do. So insulated lunch bags, you can use 2 small frozen. Do I have one of those in here? You can get the ones that you can refreeze, which is really nice. I used to have one in here. I used to keep it, wait, I think it's down here. Nope, I don't know where it is. Oh, I have one that's like this too. I like this one. This is, it's not the Blue Ice. This is, it's like a sponge type thing that's in here that freezes solid. Now, if your lunch bags allows it, if you're doing a lunch bag, I think most lunch bags are about this big, I would do the Blue Ice. I saw lunchbox ideas and I jumped in. I like to cook and always want to expand my knowledge. Thrash, you're in the right place. You are in the right place, my dear. So the ones that are the Blue Ice in the supple baggies type thing, freeze it before you freeze it. Bend it over something so it's kind of like this. It'll fit in your bag better. Whereas if you just throw it in there flat, and you've got this flat thing, and you put it just down the side of your lunch bag. But if you tent it, you can tent it right on the top and then pull the little cover over. Because remember, cold drops, heat rises. So if you can get that cold thing on the top, that cold,
did you see that?
all that cold air is going to drop down to the bottom over there. Hetty Mitz, thank you so much for that sub. I appreciate that very much. Matherin. Oh my gosh, you guys. Come on, ride that train, that choo-choo ride. Come on, ride that train, that choo-choo ride. I have never met the Queen of Denmark. I have been to Denmark. My daughter used to live in Malmö, Sweden, and so we took the train over and went over to Denmark, but I didn't get to meet the Queen. Do I look like the Queen? I feel like a queen. I've got my queen apron on. Thank you guys for the hype train. You guys are absolutely the best. Brick, nice to see you. All the good vibes up in here. They're all up inside here. But yeah, if you can take that, think of this as like it's frozen. I mean, you buy them, they're that blue gel, right? And they're very flimsy. Ooh, Matherin just earned the 1K bit badge. Right there, you got your hamburger bun. No, you got the hamburger. So it's building a hamburger as people donate bits. So it starts off with the lower bun, then you get the hamburger, and then it does tomatoes and lettuce and all that fun stuff. So when you freeze it, if you can bend it kind of like this, kind of like this a little tiny bit, so that when you go to put it into a bag, this will just slip like right over the top, and all that cold will drop down on there. So that's just another tip and trick for you there. There we got over there. The reason why these are so good, Dana, can we get a shout out for Miss Dana? First of all, a fantastic food and drink streamer, and she's also doing yoga classes now on Monday, which are fantastic for beginners, even for advanced people. Anybody can do her class. Trust me, I know. Queen, I'm here to learn how to cook. Hetty Mids, welcome into the channel. Falderall.
Come meet our family. Let us meet you.
Otto, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome on in. Thank you very much. It's wonderful to have new people here in the kitchen hanging out. We like to do a lot a lot of fun stuff. Okay, I got to get this kind of cool. I got to weigh this out. So this is our red lentils. Now they won't look red when they're cooked. Hang on. You can see they look kind of like oatmeal mush versus this is what they look like before they go in. They're kind of an orangish color. So they will kind of look mushy. Now the only thing that was in here, because I'm thinking I'm cooking, this is going to go into my pumpkin bars. So the pumpkin bars call for like 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I put that into the lentils so the lentils would kind of get seasoned all the way through. Thank you for that hydrate. Color. Kids love cherry tomatoes. Remember, everything you're going to make for your kid has to be poppable, right? Kids don't want to sit there and eat with big pieces. They're talking with their friends. They want to eat. They want to pick things up with their hands and shove it in their face. If you're going to do cherry tomatoes, do beautiful colored cherry tomatoes. Let them pick out their colors. Okay, pick out 5 of them. Let them pick out whatever 5 they want. The gluten bars are not gluten-free, but they could be if you used almond flour or rice flour instead of AP flour. You can make them gluten-free. And I think that's the only thing in them that has gluten. Hang on. Lentils, oats. Yeah. Flaxseed. Oh, 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed. I don't have ground flaxseed, so we're gonna have to grind those. I have whole flax seeds. Applesauce, vanilla extract, chopped pecans, and canned pumpkin. There's no flour in this at all. What's the one that has flour in it? Do I have something that has flour? No, I don't have anything that has flour in it because I didn't take out my flour. Was on the suggested stream list, and Otto, you came over here and took a chance. Thank you for that. Oh my gosh, you guys. All right, that's it. We got to get out the itty bitty bitty umbrella. Itty bitty bitty umbrella. Yeah, so we're kind of making these. These are going to be very high protein. Very high protein. And I'm going to give you guys a recipe also for making your own pumpkin spice. You can buy it in the jar, but if you're not going to use that whole jar, that's a lot of wasted spices in there that if you're only going to use it once a year, don't buy pumpkin spice. Mix it up with your own spices that you have. Banzai, Merlin is here. Banzai. That cake you made, holy schmoly, that looked incredible. Absolutely incredible. Banzai is our new food and drink streamer. She is absolute delight. Very good at baking. I mean, yeah. I look at the stuff she makes and I'm like, nope. I'll go watch Banzai do it. Tonight I'll be making a stew called beef broth with mustard. Cherry tomatoes, Dijon mustard. That sounds delicious, Brick. The mustard with that is what's going to just lift that entire flavor. That entire flavor is just going to be lifted with that mustard because mustard has the acid in it. I'm going to move that one out of my way. There we go. All right, let's get on to, so think about what your kids like. I need to put this, let's put this onto a plate. So this is going to look a little bit chaotic, but that's because we're doing it on stream. If you were doing this at home, you could be prepping all this, and I would be prepping larger quantities because a lot of this, except for the fresh fruits and vegetables, right? You got to have those fresh. The pumpkin bars, I would make a double batch and I would freeze them. And I would cut them into, I wouldn't cut them into like what we do like brownies. I would cut them into finger, easy to bite, easy to eat. Remember, their hands are a lot smaller than yours, a lot smaller than yours. Philip, thank you so much. Minnie Mama, nice to see you. Welcome on in, welcome on in. It has everything I could have in it because of my allergies. And that's something you got to think about. You got to think about food allergies. So this is not going to cool real fast in an enclosed pot. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put this onto a plate here. And I want to cool this down kind of quick. So how do we do that? Boom. Spread that out. Make that surface area 3 times what it was. And having it not thicken the pot like this, but now real thin, that'll cool pretty darn quickly. We're going to work on our meatballs while we work on our, but I am going to put this over here because why that fan is right here. If that falls, oh well, it'll be fine. Is there a different taste with red versus green? You can do green, you can do the what's called the white lentils, and you can do the red lentils. I don't notice any difference in flavor, to be honest with you. There might be some who do, props, but I don't. To me, it's just about how they look when you're presenting them on a dish. I love I love beans. I love lentils. I love I like chickpeas. As a matter of fact, we're going to be doing a chickpea side dish, which is really kind of good, and it's so easy to do. I'm going to tell you the hardest part of that entire recipe. Now, I need you guys to focus on this. It's critical. The hardest part of the chickpea recipe is opening the can of chickpeas. I know, but that is the hardest part of the recipe to actually do the recipe. But it's going to be pretty easy. But we're going to work on I got to get some, let me get over here in this pot. I'm going to go ahead and get this going. In this pot is a little bit of water, about 1.5 cups of water, a couple of teaspoons of remember I told you guys this is the, jeepers creepers. This is the stock I like. This one's chicken. I have it in beef, I have it in chicken, and I have it in vegetarian. This is the stock that I like because it's low sodium. We don't need a bunch of extra sodium. We get enough sodium in our food. I'm a saltaholic. I salt everything, like mounds of salt. But this stuff here is half the salt of that better than bouillon, and it has the same great flavor. I love this stuff, and you just squirt it in like a teaspoon per glass or whatever. So I have some of this in there because I'm making a chicken salad. Chicken salad's going to go in one of our lunches, and the chicken salad, I want that chicken seasoned from the inside out. I don't want just a big old bland piece of chicken. Layer the flavors. Start developing your child's palate now. Laura was never allowed to not try something. And she'd look at it, she'd go, it looks ugly. Oh, I said, close your eyes and take a bite. But what brand? Oh, this is, you can even buy this on Amazon, which is my grocery store sells it. It's called Kitchen Accomplice. Kitchen Accomplice. This is the chicken broth. They've also got it in beef and a vegetable. So if you need to have, but this stuff is wonderful. And it just squirts out. Boop. A little boop will do you. A little boop will do you. So this is my chicken breast. But Laura learned at an early age. It was just before, I think she was getting ready to go on 5. And she had her first artichoke. And she loved it. She ate the entire artichoke. But she was full by the time she finished eating it and didn't want the heart. And so Derek and I split the heart because, that's the good part. I don't do a lot. I mean, we eat the leaves. We eat the leaves. Then I cut the hearts out. And she was, what is that? I said, it's called the heart of the artichoke or the center of the artichoke. She was, can I try a bite? And